Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this afternoon's weather update. So, severe weather is returning to the south tomorrow, and the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk of severe weather across southern and southwestern Texas in the yellow tomorrow, from areas like Del Rio and the Edwards Plateau through San Antonio, with a marginal risk from southern through central through northern Texas and southwestern Oklahoma in the dark green, including Corpus Christi, Austin, Waco, Dallas, Fort Worth, Wichita Falls, Abilene, Texas, and Fort Sill, Oklahoma. So taking a look at the tornado threat for tomorrow, we do have the potential for some isolated tornadoes, especially across south central Texas, where the Storm Prediction Center has issued a 2% chance of tornadoes touching down within 25 miles of location in areas between San Antonio through Corpus Christi and Victoria. So make sure you're on guard for a couple of isolated tornado spin-ups if you live across this green area tomorrow. Looking at our damaging wind threat, we have a 5% chance of damaging straight line winds of 58 miles per hour or stronger within 25 miles of location across much of southern through central, even northern Texas in the brown tomorrow, including Corpus Christi, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Waco, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Abilene. And taking a look at our large hail threat for tomorrow, we do have a 15% chance of quarter-size hail or larger within 25 miles of a location from Del Rio through the Edwards Plateau through San Antonio. So this slight risk is going to be driven by hail and a 5% hail risk from Corpus Christi through Austin, Waco, Dallas, Fort Worth, Wichita Falls, Abilene, Texas, and Fort Sill and Woodward, Oklahoma. Taking a look at our severe weather threat going into Saturday, right now we have a marginal risk of severe weather across southeastern Texas and deep southern Louisiana in the dark green for Saturday, including Houston, Texas, and Lufkin, Texas. And looking at our probabilities of severe weather within 25 miles of a given location on Saturday, right now only a 5% chance from southeastern Texas through deep southern Louisiana. So taking a look first at the 18Z run of the HRRR model for our moisture, going into about noon central time tomorrow, we're going to be seeing widespread dew points around 60 degrees in southern and central Texas, and our moisture will advect north during the day. By the time we go into about 7 o'clock central time tomorrow night, going to be seeing a lot of lower 60s dew points from South Texas through Central Texas, even moving up towards DFW. And then as we go into the evening, 60s dew points will remain across Central and Southern Texas, but will struggle to really get north of Waco. So looking so far, we're going to be struggling with moisture with our severe weather setup for tomorrow. And eventually, as we go into tomorrow night and a Saturday, most of the moisture will get pushed offshore with our cold front, with some remaining dew points in the upper 50s to around 60 in southeast Texas and southwestern Louisiana into Saturday. Now, taking a look at our instability, looking once again in the 18Z run of the HRRR model at about 12 o'clock noon on Friday Central Time, going to be seeing modest instability across central Texas from north to south into western Oklahoma, most of it being capped. As we go into about 5 o'clock tomorrow, going to be seeing some breakage in the cap potentially across southwest Texas and northwest Texas and western Oklahoma, with our CAPE increasing to about 1,000 to maybe even 1,200 joules per kilogram in this corridor. So this will be our best bet for severe weather developing tomorrow afternoon in some of these breaks in the cap. And then as we go into the evening, our CAPE could increase even further to as much as 1,600 joules per kilogram in the Hill Country Edwards Plateau through southwest Oklahoma, with some breaks in the cap remaining. And then as we go through the overnight, by about midnight, still seeing decent amounts of instability across Texas and Oklahoma as our storms push to the east, going into Saturday morning, our instability will become confined to deep South Texas, where instability levels of about 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram will remain into Saturday morning for some additional thunderstorm development. Now, taking a look at our low-level jet, our wind shear, this is probably going to be the ingredient that limits the severe weather the most. Going into noon on Friday, we see a low-level jet of only about 20 to 30 knots across much of southwest through West Texas, Northwest Texas, Southwest Oklahoma, and this low-level jet does nothing but get weaker as we go into the evening. Could even be seeing low-level jets near non-existent in Southwest Texas, where our slight risk is. So not really too worried about tornadoes until we start going into the overnight, unfortunately. As we go into about midnight, low-level jet will ramp up across Southeast Texas, where the Storm Prediction Center has that 2% tornado risk I mentioned. For tomorrow, this will be an overnight threat across South Central Texas due to that low-level jet increasing. And then as we go into Saturday, we could actually see an increased tornado threat across Southeast Texas and Southwest Louisiana if we have sufficient moisture, as our low-level jet could crank to as much as 40 to 50 knots into Southwest Louisiana and Southeastern Texas by Saturday afternoon. So this is a trend we're going to have to watch closely going into Saturday. And taking a brief look at our flooding threat for tomorrow, have a marginal risk for much of central eastern Texas through central Oklahoma, south central Kansas, including San Antonio, Austin, Waco, Dallas, Texas, and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And then looking at our flooding threat for Saturday, a pretty large slight risk across far east Texas, southwest Arkansas, most of Louisiana, southwest Mississippi, and far southwestern Alabama in the yellow. Marginal risk for Saturday across far east Texas, east Oklahoma, east Kansas, southwestern Missouri, most of Arkansas, much of Mississippi, southwest Alabama, and western Florida. So flooding is going to be a concern as well, especially on Saturday. So thanks for watching today's severe weather update. Make sure you're on guard for a couple of spin-up tornadoes tomorrow, especially tomorrow night across south central Texas, and large hail across southwestern Texas for tomorrow evening. Thanks for watching this evening's weather update. Please stay safe and have a wonderful evening, my friends.